Magic. Intriguing, yet fickle and dangerous. Sticklewick knew that, but Max did not. So it's the clash of the sorcerer and the apprentice. That being said, welcome to Stories Podcast. Welcome to Stories Podcast. Today we are going to read The Sorcerer's Apprentice. So, get your books or your PDFs and let's begin. Max was an apprentice. Sticklewick the sorcerer had promised to teach him magic. But so far, all Max seemed to do was clean. He had spent the entire morning cleaning the workshop, and he still hadn't finished. How will I ever learn to be a sorcerer like Sticklewick? He moaned. He never lets me do any magic. Just then, Max heard footsteps on the stone staircase. That's him, back to work. A moment later, Sticklewick appeared. Max, I have to go into town, he announced, waving a long shopping list. I used the last of the dragon's eggs yesterday, I ran out of newt's blood the day before, and we are completely out of goblin's toenails. Max was delighted. Sticklewick had never left him alone in the castle before. I can explore the dungeons and swim in the moat, he thought, or just sit in the sun and do nothing at all. There's plenty to do while I'm out, Sticklewick went on. For a start, this floor could do with a good scrub. But fill up the water tank first. It's almost empty. Max groaned. It always took hours to fetch enough water to fill the tank, and it was such hard work. Oh, one more thing, Sticklewick added. Don't try any spells. He frowned. Or I'll turn you into a tadpole, he threatened, his bushy eyebrows bristling. With that, there was a flash of light and a puff of purple smoke. The sorcerer was gone. Well, don't just stand there, croaked a little voice. You have work to do. It was Tabitha, Sticklewick's toad. Oh, hop it, said Max crossly. I have been working hard all morning. I need a rest first. There's no need to be rude, said Tabitha, hopping onto a broomstick. Max didn't reply. Seeing Tabitha perched on the broom had given him a brilliant idea. Last week, Sticklewick had cast a spell on a broomstick. It had come to life and done everything the sorcerer asked. I'm sure I can remember the words, Max thought, concentrating. You're up to something, said Tabitha. You'd better not try a spell. You heard Sticklewick. Don't be such a spoilsport, said Max. What harm can it do? Anyway, he won't know. Max closed his eyes and thought for a moment. Taking a deep breath, he said the magic words. All at once, the broom began to twitch. It shook and it shuddered. Then, slowly, It grew 2 skinny arms and 2 skinny legs. Now Max ordered the broom. "Fetch me some water, and be quick about it." The broom ran off. In no time Max heard it coming. Tap, 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 down the steps. It poured the water into the tank and set off for more. Feeling very pleased with himself, Max flopped down in the sorcerer's chair. Time for a snooze. He yawned. Soon he was fast asleep. Max woke up to find Tabitha hopping on his lap. "What is it?" he mumbled sleepily. "Get up, get up, get up, get up!" she croaked, jumping up and down. "It's a disaster," she explained. "The tank is overflowing and the broom won't stop." Max slipped up. Water was sloshing over the sides of the tank and the broom was clattering down the steps again. "Stop!" he shouted. "That's enough!" But the broom took no notice. Streams of water poured across the floor. "Great stuttering sorcerers! Just say the spell!" begged Tabitha. "What spell?" asked Max, puzzled. Then he remembered. Of course! He needed a spell to make the broom stop. "Oh no!" he groaned. I don't think I actually know it." By now the water was ankle deep, and still the broom was fetching more. "I know!" cried Max, splashing across the floor. "I'll look in Sticklewick's spellbook. Let's see." Max flicked through page after page. "This is hopeless," he wailed. "There are thousands of spells here. I'll never find the right one. What am I going to do?" "You could chop the broom up," said Tabitha helpfully. "Good thinking," said Max. He grabbed a hatchet, lifted it high above his head, and swung it down hard. With a loud crack, the broomstick split in two. "That was close," said Max with a sigh of relief. "Thanks, Tabitha. You're brilliant." "Tabitha, what's wrong?" Tabitha was gazing in horror at the broomstick halves. "Just look," she croaked. Max's eyes opened wide. The 2 pieces of the broom were moving, and each piece was growing new arms and legs. Faster than ever, the brooms raced off for more water. "I'm in big trouble now," thought Max glumly. In no time the brooms were back, sloshing water everywhere. Max did everything he could think of to try and stop them. He tried tripping them. He even tried to sit on them, but it was no use. "I give up," said Max miserably. "Sticklewick is going to be furious." Meanwhile, the brooms were still dashing in and out, up and down the steps, and all the time the water was getting deeper. Soon it reached Max's knees, then his waist, then his chest. Splash, splosh! The brooms flung a few more pails of water into the room. Waves washed across the workshop. Tabitha shot past, trying to surf. "I warned you not to try any spells," she spluttered, spitting out water. Maybe next time you'll listen to me." "If this goes on, there won't be a next time," muttered Max desperately. "Help!" he yelled, climbing onto a table. But he knew there was no one around to hear. Suddenly there was a loud pop. Sticklewick appeared in a shower of green sparks. Before he could catch his breath, the two brooms flew down the steps and flung yet more water into the workshop. "Galloping goblins!" cried the sorcerer. "What has that boy been doing?" Quickly he raised his wand and spoke the magic words. In a flash, one of the brooms vanished. The other whizzed across the room and stood neatly against the table. Finally, with a loud glug, 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 the water began to drain away. Nervously, Max climbed down from the table. His knees felt weak. Sticklewick glared at him. "Well, what have you got to say for yourself?" Um, I'm really sorry." "Not good enough," roared Sticklewick. "I warned you. Now it's tadpole time." Max dived behind the water tank. "Please don't turn me into a tadpole," he cried. "I won't ever meddle with magic again." "No, you won't," snapped Sticklewick. "Tadpoles can do simple spells, and they certainly can do tricky ones." He paused and thought for a second. Max didn't dare move. Just then Tabitha spoke. "He might be a good sorcerer one day. Maybe you should start teaching him magic." "Maybe," said Sticklewick. "But first he cleans up here." He turned to Max. "And if you ever disobey me again, you will be a frog spawn in the moat." From that day on, Max was a perfect pupil. Soon he learned how to do spells properly, and when he grew up, he became a great sorcerer. Although he was always a little afraid of broomsticks. Mischief managed. The clash is settled. Now tell me, my friends, who do you think should have listened to the other at the first place? The sorcerer or the apprentice? Well, think about it until we meet again next week.